You swore you wouldn't do it again. Yet here you are, at 2 a.m., mindlessly scrolling or staring at the bottom of an empty chip bag, wondering, why do I keep sabotaging myself? Well, what if I told you you aren't? Welcome to This Explainer, where we're unpacking the actual neuroscience behind our most stubborn bad habits. Seriously, think about it. Why did you repeat that bad habit today when you promised yourself yesterday that you were done? It is so easy to just blame yourself, right? To think you just lack discipline or that you're weak. But I'm here to tell you to scratch that idea completely. This isn't a character flaw. It's actually a deeply ingrained neurological feature. Your brain is literally operating exactly as it was designed to. So let's jump straight into section 1, the illusion of willpower, and why fighting yourself is structurally doomed to fail. We have all been sold this lie, that breaking a habit just requires more willpower. But relying on willpower alone, that's a mathematically losing game. There is this psychological concept called ego depletion. Basically, your willpower lives right behind your forehead in the prefrontal cortex, the logical reasoning part of your brain. Think of it like your phone battery. It rapidly depletes every single time you make a decision, focus hard, or regulate an emotion. By 8 p.m., that battery is practically at 1%. And this sets up a massive biological mismatch. On one side, you have your prefrontal cortex. It's conscious, it drains easily, and it's holding all your willpower. But on the other side, you've got the basal ganglia. This is an ancient, deeply embedded brain structure that runs your habits, and crucially, it never turns off. When you try to white-knuckle your way out of a bad habit, you are putting a dying battery in a head-to-head fight against a machine that literally never sleeps. Willpower is going to lose every time. Which brings us to section 2, the anatomy of a habit. The brain's ultimate energy-saving mode. Let's see, your brain's main job is just to save energy. When it finds a sequence of actions that pays off with a reward, it immediately wants to automate it. Charles Duhigg's research maps this out perfectly as a 3-part loop. Step 1 is the cue, a trigger like a time of day or a stressful feeling. Step 2 is the routine, which is the automated behavior itself. And step 3 is the reward. That little hit tells the brain, oh yeah, that felt good. Let's absolutely remember that for next time. Now, here is the truly wild part. MIT neuroscientists found that old habits are actually never forgotten. Even when a habit seemed completely broken, they proved this in maze studies with rats, the old neural pathways were still fully intact. They are permanently wired in, just lurking right there in the basal ganglia, waiting to be unmasked by the right trigger. You don't ever delete bad habits, they are always there. Okay, moving on to section 3, the dopamine trap. The chemistry of wanting. To really grasp why that reward phase has such a chokehold on us, we have to bust a massive misconception. We always hear dopamine called the pleasure chemical, right? But that's not exactly accurate. Dopamine is heavily driven by anticipation. It is the wanting chemical far more than the having chemical. That's exactly why the craving for a junk food meal feels so intense and urgent, but actually eating it is kind of meh. Let's track how this builds over time. When a habit is new, in phase 1, you get a dopamine spike when you actually receive the reward. Nice and simple. But through repetition, in phase 2, your brain learns the pattern. By phase 3, something crazy happens. The dopamine release literally shifts backward in time. It starts firing the moment you experience the cue before you've even done the behavior. That anticipation triggers an intense physical craving that pretty much forces you to act. And it scales up fast. Modern addictive substances and hyper-stimulating behaviors can flood your reward pathways with up to 10 times more dopamine than natural rewards. 10 times! To survive that absolute flood, your brain adapts by turning down its own sensitivity. The result? You demand more and more of the bad habit just to feel normal, and suddenly, everyday healthy pleasures just don't do it for you anymore. This leads us right into section 4, the procrastination glitch. Why tomorrow always looks easier. Let's talk about a bad habit almost all of us share, procrastination. A really fascinating neurocomputational study from the NIH showed that procrastinating is actually just a mathematical glitch in how our brain measures time and effort. Your brain is running a cost-benefit analysis. It calculates that the reward for finishing a project is exactly the same whether we do it today or tomorrow. But, and here's the glitch, it perceives the effort required tomorrow as vastly smaller. Today's effort feels massive and painful. Tomorrow's effort feels completely imaginary.
In neurospeak, procrastination is a steep temporal discounting of effort, meaning you aren't just lazy, your dorsomedial prefrontal cortex is falling for a cognitive bias. Delaying the work makes it feel practically effortless in the moment. The obvious problem here is that tomorrow eventually becomes today, and boom, that effort balloons right back to its full painful size.
So how do we fix all this? Section 5, how to hack your brain and rewrite the automatic code. All right, so if we can't delete old habits and willpower is doomed to fail, what do? We have to hijack the system. The absolute best, scientifically backed strategy for this is habit substitution. You can't destroy the loop, but you can change its components. The secret sauce is this: identify the hidden cue, keep the neurological reward exactly the same so your brain gets what it wants, and just swap in a healthy routine right in the middle. Here is your exact playbook. Step 1. Observe your triggers. What time, place, or mood kicks off the craving? Step 2. Insert a new behavior that gives you a similar relief. Step 3. Add some serious physical friction to the bad routine. Put your phone in another room. Make your brain work for it. Step 4. Crucially, tell a friend what you're doing. That adds the powerful, natural dopamine hit of social approval. And finally, step 5, create implementation intentions. An implementation intention sounds fancy, but it is wildly simple. It's just, when X happens, I will do Y instead. That's it. A massive meta-analysis across 94 different studies showed that using this simple pre-planned script drastically boosts your success rate. It is way more effective than just setting some vague goal like, I'm going to be healthier this week. By setting up your environment and pre-planning that substitute routine, you're totally shifting the battleground. You're no longer relying on pure willpower and your easily exhausted prefrontal cortex. Instead, you're directly targeting the basal ganglia. You're retraining it to automate a brand new routine. You're finally working with your brain's architecture instead of fighting against it. So I'm going to leave you with this provocative thought to chew on today. The cues in your life are unavoidable. The dopamine craving is waiting to be triggered. Knowing that your brain will literally never delete an old bad habit, what specific action will you choose to script into your autopilot next? Because the choice of the routine is entirely yours. Thanks so much for hanging out with me for this explainer, and I hope it helps you build a better loop today.